Hello guys, welcome to another Wargame Airland battle. I'm hoping today to upload a couple of videos. One is to show my USA deck off that I've made, and the other is to play a couple of games with the USA deck and put one of those up as well. So without further ado, this is my USA decks I have made today, and let's have a look first at the logistics. I've got two types of CV. I've got the little Jeep fella here, standard CV, relatively abundant. You get 6 of them. It's small. Of course, it's not armored at all. It needs to be hidden. It needs to be well behind the lines, and basically so that the enemy can't find it anywhere or I'll have to guess as to where it is. I've also got this CV chopper as well, and I got these because I want this deck to be fairly flexible, and if there are openings further up the map, I need a CV that's reasonably with a good speed and that can get there sort of as the crow flies, nice and directly and quickly, and get a command vehicle on that zone as fast as possible. Now, not a lot of people use these command choppers. I think they need to be used in a quite limited way and only for certain things, but they are good for those certain things. So I have used a spot for those. I did debate, but I've decided to put it in. I've got standard fob, of course, and some super Chinooks. Fantastic logistics carrier. And there she blows. Let's just have a look at a massive thing. It's got a good strength of 10, it's got a good supply of fuel and a good speed as well, and it can be used to resupply anti-air, to resupply tanks that you pull back that are damaged, things like that. And you get 3 of them, and they can fly backwards and forwards to and from your fob for the whole game. Hemps, I like these mainly because of their strength and how much fuel they get. So you can just get like 1 in at a time. You only get 4 of them, but you only need 1 at a time because they hold 1,700 litres of fuel, which is really good. And they have a strength of 10, and that means that despite their poor armour, they're probably going to take an artillery hit and still survive. Although if they take a couple of hits, they're going to blow up like any other truck. But most trucks have got really low strength, but these have got a strength of 10, which is why I've got them, and they're fast as well. And they can be used fairly close to the front lines, resupplying sort of infantry, again anti-air and anti-air infantry as well, perhaps, if you micro them quite well. So that's the logistics really. Next, infantry. I haven't got a lot of infantry in this deck. I've got the US Marines, good old boys, US Marines, strength of 15, which is nice because you can, if they get damaged, you just pull them back a little bit and just resupply them, and then they can head off forward again. I don't know what that massive bomb at the back there is doing, but yeah. I've got them in these sort of crappy trucks really, which means I've got to be a little bit careful because they're cheap if you get them in a crappy truck, but you've got to be careful and unload them well before they hit the enemy, because if the enemy gets a shot off and kills one of the trucks, then you're going to lose 15 units straight away. So you just want to be careful of that, but they are a really good offensive unit to head into towns, to head into forests. Will do good against pretty much any other type of infantry except perhaps Spetsnaz. Got some lad stingers as well, only 2, so you've got to be careful with these, and they come, I've got those in a small APC with a little Browning machine gun to protect them a little bit, and I'll put them sort of in forests and in towns I want to protect. Try to get them as close to the front lines as I can to sort of snipe planes and things as they fly over, and maybe the odd chopper. And then these I really like, these light riflemen in my decks, in my USA decks anyway. Strength of 10, but they're sort of an all-round unit, and I like to get them in Hueys, or I've got them in Hueys. Really so that I can transport them to the front lines relatively quickly, and I have got a chopper to support this as well, which we'll see a little bit later. So yeah, I mean, they've got an 80 GM a missile here. Is it a It's sort of a missile, Saklos missile. It is a missile with a limited range, but they're not going to open fire until these units get in range, so they're okay. The AP power isn't fantastic at 10, but they'll take out APCs and things like that from approaching infantry, and good suppression. And they're good at fighting infantry. They're not the best, but they are good, and they'll do a good all-round job for you. And they have got these Saklos missiles. There is another unit, it's very similar to these, the Mountaineers. I thought about getting them instead, but I went for the light infantry as well because they're fairly similar, and yeah, the Mountaineers are 5 points more. They're probably a little bit better, but they're 5 points more. So I went for the light infantry because I tend to bring them in at the start of the game, so I don't want to use too many points up at the start of the game on infantry. So yeah, pretty good. Next, support. Support, definitely got to go for the standard M4 8A1 chaps. Every NATO and USA deck should have. Here they are. That bomb still sitting in the background there. Basically, really, really good against... Oh, where are they? There we are. That's better. Really, really good against choppers, helicopters, and okay against planes as well. Good, very good accuracy. Good HE power of above 5 at 6. Of course, they lack armor, and people do tend to try and hit them with artillery if they see them, but they're not radar, so they can't get targeted by seed aircraft. I got these cheaper chaps as well. Have a look at those. And I mainly got these for numbers in case we're in a long game and you need a lot of AA smattered around the board. You get 8 of them. Not as long range as the M48A ones, but still decent against choppers and okay against planes. Okay HE power, you know, they're okay. Again, 4 missiles, it's not a lot. All these chaps lose their missiles really fast if there's a lot of planes flying over, and they do need plenty of resupply if you're going to use them well. I've got these pivads. Really, again, just push them up with a couple up early game just to stun anything, and I use them really to support any armor pushes or anything, to try and keep the helicopters at bay if I'm trying to do an armor push. So that's why I got those pivads. Again, lightly armored, easily killed, but you need these things in your deck. I've got some mortars. I've got the ones with the long range. They've got a range of 6,300, which means you can leave them fairly well behind the lines for using them. They do need to be microed around because if you get up against a decent player, they're going to try and counter battery these, and so you do need to micro them around. They've got an okay speed. They've got a good load of ammo. Where's the ammo? 90, so not too bad. But yeah, just be careful about counter battery fire really with these. About it really, but they're very good mortar, and they can use them for smoke as well. Paladins, I wanted to get one type of artillery, long range artillery, so I got the Paladins. It's about the best one I could find apart from the howitzers, but I prefer a normal artillery piece because of the rate of fire. The rate of fire is 5. They've got a good HE power of 10 and a decentish accuracy of 7, although the accuracy isn't fantastic. Again, can be used to snipe CVs and anti-air units, anything lightly armoured, infantry in woods, and smoke as well. So it's got a multiple range of units. It's got a decent amount of ammo at 24, so it's got a few shots it can get off. And you can just I'll just put that next to the fob, or near to the fob, basically for resupply anyway. Tanks. America's pretty strong in tanks. You've got to get these two, this Super M60 and the MBT Medium Battle Tank 70. I assume that's what it stands for. I really like this MBT 70. Why? Because it's 60 points, which is not a lot for a decent tank. And it's got these Sackloss missiles, 4 of them, really good anti-tank missiles for the cost of just 60. 16 AP power, so it can take on most other tanks apart from the bigger packed tanks. But a good accuracy really, fairly high fire rate, average sort of all-round armor, but at 60, what do you expect? And a decent main gun as well, with not a brilliant range, but a decent main gun. But it's really these Sackloss missiles that you're looking at for this tank, and you can micro them back to refuel those Sackloss missiles. The Super M60, not as keen on this, but it's a prototype, so you know, always take the prototypes if you're doing a national deck. You've got to use them as part, you know, just for a bit of fun, if nothing else. Okay main gun, you know, it's got AP power of 15, okay against sort of medium-sized tanks and APCs, things like that. Good against infantry with an HE3, so you can support your infantry against other infantry with this tank as well. Okay armor again, not brilliant, but okay. Decentish sort of medium all-round tank, but don't put it into areas where there's big heavies hanging around without good support. The big gun, of course, is the M1A1 Abrams, sorry. One of the best tanks in the game, of course. I wouldn't put it above some of the pack tanks, but it is a very, very good tank. It's reasonable speed, strength, really nicely armoured, a really nice main gun with a very good accuracy, very good AP power. Will take on any tank as long as it can get close enough, which is the secret. You need to be able to micro this tank around the board quite well for it to be effective, but if you do that, it can be very effective. And it's got a couple of other armaments which can be used if it comes up against any infantry or anything like that, for example in trees and stuff. I've also got the MIIP Abrams, which is quite similar to the other Abrams. It's just not quite as powerful. If you look at the main gun, it's got slightly less range. The tanks look very similar. Slightly less range, I believe. Yeah, 2275 to 2. Oh, that's 21. That's 2. Yeah, I think that's right. Catch up. So 2. Yeah, slightly less range on the main gun. Slightly less AP power. So it's slightly less powerful main gun. But if you have a look, the armament of this vehicle is exactly the same, or the armor, should I say, of this vehicle is exactly the same. So you could like stick a few of these in front of your M1A1s just to protect your M1A1s a little bit. And they are, of course, a bit cheaper than the M1A1. So that's a nice tank to complement. They'll complement each other, really. So that's the tanks. Reconnaissance. OHs, Kiowas, they're nice. Again, got to get these, really. I mean, they are expensive at 90. We've got exceptional optics, so they'll see pretty much everything before anything will see them, except something else with exceptional optics or something hidden. They've got some fantastic Hellfire missiles, which will shoot down pretty much anything. But they will probably be targeted if you come up against a good player with some anti-helicopter, cheap anti-helicopter planes who will no doubt not bother about sort of kamikazing one of his planes into your chopper to get rid of it at 90 points. But yeah, well, I play mainly Total Destruction anyway, so it doesn't matter quite so much for me. I play mainly Total Destruction and Conquest. Rangers. These are my sort of foot soldiers, my foot infantry. Get them into tree lines, get them into buildings, anywhere. Get them into anywhere up front so you can keep an eye on what the enemy's doing, basically. That's what they're for. They're in Hueys, so if I get the opportunity to flank, then I'll take it. Don't be sure about that. Then I've got these Bradleys. Now, I'm not too keen on having reconnaissance that fire, really. I mean, my reconnaissance is there, apart from the OOHs, which can snipe like CVs and things like that, or tanks. You know, having sort of APCs that fire that are reconnaissance, I'm not over keen on it, but these Bradleys have got a very good accuracy, a very good AP power. If they see something and shoot at it, they're pretty much going to kill it or severely damage it if it's a big tank. But they're very poorly armoured. If they get shot back at, they are going to die. But they have got a good range, so they are a nice unit, and I'm definitely going to have them in this deck. I haven't taken any vehicles. I don't really like the look of any of the American vehicles over and above any of the other units. You know, you're tempted to get some Zippos perhaps, but I'm not really going for a town deck here. I'm going for a sort of open area deck and support deck as well. I'm not really going to be going for towns on this deck. So I've left sort of all the ATGM vehicles and stuff, and I will rely mainly on my tanks in that area. Helicopters. Now, the Americans have got some fantastic helicopters. OHs. These are really good for supporting early game early game infantry flights into towns up to the front line. Will shoot down pretty much any enemy chopper, including Akulas and Sokols, and definitely equal to those much more expensive choppers when it comes to shooting them down. And will also shoot down planes if they're quick enough to get their shots off and if you can micro them. They are weak if they get shot back at. They've only got a strength of 4 and they'll only take 1 hit, they'll die. But they fire really fast, 20 rounds per minute, and they get all their missiles off really fast. They are a really good early game unit. And then we've got these patches we'll look at first. Again, a prototype. Get the American deck, you've got to get them. They are expensive, very expensive in fact. But they are fantastic all-round chopper, and they look amazing as well. They've got these SALH missiles, 8 of them. They fire them really fast. They've got a fantastic AP power, will kill any tanks that are hanging around with 1 or 2 shots. Really good accuracy, and they've got rocket pods for use against infantry and for suppressing armored units as well, and this machine or autocannon for killing basically choppers and ground units as well. So needs microing, got to be careful with it. It has got a strength of 8, so it can take a hit before it will, or it will need a couple of hits before it will go down. So you do get a chance of getting it back if it gets attacked by anti-air. And then we've got the Cobras. These are a really good all-round unit. Again, a little bit cheap, or a lot cheaper than the Apache. But they've got ITOs, which they fire fairly fast. They've got rocket pods, and they've also got this Vulcan machine gun as well. So they're good all-round chopper, can do a bit of everything, but they do need to get a bit closer with the range against armored vehicles. So you have to be careful with these against anti-air. I was tossing up between those and the Hawks, but I have got like the OHs and I have got the Apaches, so I decided against the Hawks and to get one with a more sort of get the Cobras because they're more sort of flexible chopper. If I had a NATO deck, I would probably get the Seahawks because you can't get the Apaches in a NATO deck. And then we've got the planes. The Americans have got some fantastic planes, of course. Really good. But I've gone for Ravens and Nighthawks. I've got 2 Nighthawks and 2 Ravens. Now, reason for this is I really can't be asked to micro lots of anti-air aircraft around all the time. You know, pissed me off, so I tend not to do it. However, seed aircraft and bombers, I can bomb anything in a tree line, anything in a town with these Nighthawks, as long as there's not too much anti-air around. They have an exceptional stealth, so they're in, drop, out, and before the enemy has a chance to get a shot off. Now, if the enemy do see them and get a shot off, they are likely to go down because they haven't got a massively good they're not got good ECM, although they have got a strength of 10, so they can take a hit. Whereas the Ravens, they have a strength of 10, but they have exceptional ECM. They can take a lot of missiles being fired at them and will do a fantastic job for you. And what I like to do is fly a couple of Ravens followed by a Nighthawk dropping its bomb afterwards. Very effective as long as you do it properly. And there isn't, I say there isn't, but basically it needs to be a pack deck. Only a pack deck with a lot of AA behind the lines is going to stop these sorts of planes coming in and creating havoc. And it also causes the enemy to have to micro their units, especially if they're using Cubs and Bucks and things to micro their radar on and off if they don't want to get all their anti-aircraft network shot down. So I think that's about it. That's my USA deck. If you see it, you know, if you do sort of have a look at this video and you see it, let me know what you think. If you think there's anything I should add or take away, if you think it's a good deck, a bad deck, an okay deck. And I'm going to do a bit of gameplay with it tonight, and then I'll upload one of the videos, probably one of the more successful videos, I have to say, but I will upload a video just to show off some of these units and what they can do. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the gameplay or using this deck.